Okay, so to sum up our season in one word, it is failure. We have failed. And yes, I get it. Wenger was here for a long time, too long, 22 years, he's been there for a while. He did a good job until about like 5 years before his reign ended. Up until like 2015, I felt he was doing okay. Up to 2006, he did a great job. From 07 to like 2013, 2014, I still felt like, considering his resources, he did fine. But after that, it started to decline a little bit. But we won the FA Cup twice, which was good. But in 2015, he should have left, because in the league and Europe, we were not doing well enough at the time. We were not doing well enough. We're making top 4, obviously, but we were still not doing well enough. Going out of the last 16 in the Champions League. We were winning cups, yes, but in the league and Europe, it was getting worse every single year. So I think that the right time for him to leave should have been 2015. He left too late, unfortunately, and he left us in a mess, to be honest. A mess of a squad, a mess of a club. And I still love the guy, he's still a club legend, but it has to be said, his last 3 years were awful. Apart from the FA Cup win, that was alright, but still in Europe and in the league, it was unacceptable. So I understand that after 22 years of one manager, the new manager wasn't going to get immediate success. I understood that at the start of the season. But I still felt that even though we couldn't win the Premier League, and I was doubtful about the Europa League as well, I was like, I'm not sure we can win this. But I still felt that we could have made top 4, and we could have at least challenged for one of the 2 domestic cups, because realistically, that's what we can win. We can win the League Cup and FA Cup if we take it seriously, if we actually go and win. And that's what annoyed me about Wenger's reign. In the League Cup, we never took it seriously, which really annoyed me. We always played like our reserves and youth, and that's not a bad thing. Like they deserve chances, but it was like all reserve and youth. We had no one on the bench who could change the game. And it was frustrating because we kept getting knocked out of the League Cup because we played weak squads, which really frustrated me. If we had taken it more seriously, we might have won a few of those. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we definitely would have, but it just annoys me when we don't take the cups that seriously. Because as a fan, I want to win as much as possible. And what we can win is the 2 domestic cups. But this year, we've been knocked out by Spurs and Man United in our own backyards. Our 2 biggest rivals in the Premier League era have come to our backyards and knocked us out of both cup competitions. It's unacceptable. Like, it's not just the fact that we lost to them, the fact that we lost. Like, it's not just the fact that we lost to those teams. It's the manner that we lost in. We didn't play well enough. I was at both games. We were awful in both games. That it was painful watching us play against Man United in that first half. Like, it was actually painful in that cup game. It was ridiculous how bad we were playing. Like, we were being torn apart by a few passes. Lukaku down the wing found himself in so much space. And that's another thing, right? We play 3 at the back, we play wing backs. Our wing backs are currently Kolasinac and Maitland-Niles. Going forwards, they are good. Defensively, no, they are not. Maitland-Niles leaves the space open so many times. Kolasinac, he's not good at the back either. Kolasinac, honestly, I'll get to that end of the video, but at the end of the video I'm going to say like who I think we should sell, who I think we should keep. Kolasinac is one of those people who I think we should sell. We won't sell him, but I honestly think that he's not good enough, in my opinion. Maitland-Niles, he is good enough, I feel. He's got potential, but he should not be playing right back. He's a threat going forwards. Play him in midfield. Ramsey's gone now. There's a space available. Put him in midfield, please. Like, he is not a right back, a right wing back. I get it. He played there before he joined the first team, but that's not his position. He needs to play in midfield. He needs to play an advanced role. Like, the way he's playing now just doesn't work. So, all right. So back to the main topic, right? The 2 cups, unacceptable. In the league, right? We should have made top 4. At the start of the season, I thought we can possibly make it. Tottenham and Chelsea, Liverpool, City are all there, obviously. I thought they'd all be strong. I thought United would do something as well. So I was worried, but I felt we could have done it. And considering where we were at one point, we should have made it. After we beat Man United in like March, I think it was, we had no top 6 team left to play. And yes, I know we had tough games left, but still, no big 6 team left to play in our last 8 or 9 games. And we didn't make it. And we only got a few points of our last few games. It was It's very annoying considering where we were, considering we beat United, we beat Spurs, we beat Chelsea at home. 3 key games that we won. We took 4 points off 2 of them. Against United, Chelsea and Spurs, we played 6 games, we lost just once. We did well against them, overall. Overall, we should have done better, but we did well against them. And we still couldn't make top 4. And that was very frustrating to me. So, before we get to that point, these are the results leading up to March that pissed me off the most, alright? I'm not going to mention the City games, Liverpool away or Chelsea away, because even though they annoyed me, I wasn't really thinking these are why we did make top 4, in my opinion. Because we won other big games anyway, so I thought we did well enough in the big games. But in other games, and big games as well, right? Palace away, 2-2. Should have won that game, had the chances to seal it, and then they equalised. Wolves at home, frustrating game. Old Trafford away, 2-2. That was very annoying because we had that game won and we made 2 stupid defensive errors that let them equalise twice. And that was annoying because we really should have won that game. They were poor at the time, they were there for the taking, and for some reason, we didn't have the bottle to hold on against them. And that was very frustrating. Southampton away, 3-2 loss. That was awful. Brighton away, 1-1. Unacceptable. 1-0 loss to West Ham. That was one of the worst performances of the season. That was terrible. Tottenham away at Wembley, 1-1. That one annoyed me the most because we had the chances to win it. Lacazette had a couple. Aubameyang had a penalty. We should have won that game. Yes, I know some refereeing decisions went the wrong way. That shouldn't have gone against us. But that's not why we lost. We had the game in our hands. It's our job to keep it in our hands. We can't let the refs take it out of our hands. We need to put it in our own hands. And we had the chances. We didn't take them. And ultimately, we missed out on top 4 by a point behind Tottenham. If we had won that game at Wembley, which we should have won, who knows? Who knows? But anyway, after that, we did recover it. I remember we beat Newcastle at home on Monday night. We won 2-0. And after that came a tough period. Everton away to start with. From that point, the last month, just over a month of the season, we were going to play a game midweek. Weekend, midweek, constantly until the last day of the season in the Premier League. And that was going to be tough, obviously, but I still felt like we had a squad that was good enough to get through all of that. And then we lost the very first game to Everton, and I was very annoyed. And this was the table. This was the table for that Everton game. So obviously we beat Man United, and we beat Newcastle, etc. And we were in the top 4 on 63 points with a game in hand. No top 6 team left to play. And we still didn't make it, which frustrates me. And then we recovered it, we beat Watford away, which is a big win. After we beat Watford away, we were here. 5 games to go, 66 points, just about in the top 4, a decent goal difference considering where we were, which is not too bad. Now this is the final table. We only got 4 points more and missed out by a point. Spurs dropped points, Chelsea dropped points, we didn't take advantage. And that annoys me the most because all we had to do really was beat Crystal Palace at home and Brighton at home. And we might have been in the top 4 or even 3rd. We just had to win our home games. We just had to win our home games or win at Spurs. One of those things. Win at Old Trafford. And that really annoys me. There's too many games this season where we've just simply not been good enough. And towards the end was the worst part because we lost 3-2 to Crystal Palace at home, which was very, very bad, obviously. And in the same week, we lost 3-1 to Wolves, 3-0 to Leicester. 9 goals conceded in 3 games in the same week. And then we drew 1-1 at home to Brighton. That really annoys me. The position we were in, the fixtures we had, we should have done it, and we didn't make top 4. That really annoys me. And that, for me, considering where we were after we beat Newcastle, after we beat Man United, considering where we were with 31 games played, with 33 games played, it's a failure that we didn't make top 4. Now, I don't care that we had Europa League on the side, that we had loads of games coming up every few days. That's not an excuse. We still should have made it, in my opinion. We still should have made it, and we fumbled it. And in the Europa League, at the very least, we're getting through that. We beat Napoli comfortably, we battered Valencia, and that was good. We got to the final, but we bottled the final. So that's 2 opportunities there, a double chance at making the Champions League next season, and we failed. We sacrificed the league basically for the Europa League, and we lost just to lose that as well. That annoys me a lot. That really annoys me. And literally, even if we did prioritize the Europa League more, we still should have got enough points in the league itself, and we should have been in the top 4. So for me, based on where we were in March, it's a failure. If you told me at the start of the season that we'd finish 5th and lost Europa League final, I would have been like, it wouldn't surprise me because it's a transitional period. But considering how the season went in the last few months, Emery, I think, failed. Now, I'm not Emery out. Again, I say, I'm not Emery out. I'm not, all right? I'll give him at least another season, but we need to see improvement. Apparently, we got a low budget, though, so I don't know about that improvement. Apparently, we got a really low budget. Apparently, it's 40 million. So, I guess we have to rely on selling players to actually, like, buy players. Speaking of selling players, here's who I think we should sell. Now, I am aware, by the way, that we're not going to sell all of these players, okay? We're not going to sell half our squads. It's not going to happen. But these are who I would actually at least consider selling, all right? But before that, though, we do know that Ramsey's gone to Juventus. Welbeck's going, I don't know where he's going. Czech's retired, and Suarez is going back to Barcelona. We shouldn't make that permanent anyway, I think. Just let him go back, and that's it. So, who we should sell? Ozil. Now, this is not an agenda. This is not an agenda at all. Ozil, I think, has been a good servant for quite a few years, but the last season, and yeah, this season just gone, and the season before that, for like at least half of it, he was not good enough. He simply, like, he seems to be past it. He's way past his prime. He's not giving us what he used to, and I think that's a real problem. So if I were Arsenal, I would sell him right now. Now, who would want to buy him? He's on 50k a week. He probably doesn't want to leave. But who's going to buy him? I don't know. Maybe someone from China. I hope someone does want to buy him, though. I really do, and I hope he wants to go, because he said he wants to stay, but I hope he actually goes. I really do, because he's not providing what he did before, and I think we would benefit if we cash in on him now and bring in someone else that's more creative. Not more creative, but bring in a creative midfielder instead of him. Like, bring someone. I don't know who that midfielder is, but I'm sure there's someone out there. Bring whoever that person is in. Get rid of Ozil, in my opinion. We've lost Ramsey now, so give Linton a chance to send him in, maybe. I don't know, if I was to strengthen our team, I would focus on the defence. We need defenders, like ASAP. Ozil, we need to improve our midfield, obviously. We need new midfielders, and we need new wingers. We drastically need new wingers. We've got Reece Nelson. Hopefully he comes back from his loan fine. He's playing a tournament this summer, actually, but that shouldn't affect him too much. I hope he comes back and he's in Emery's plans. And I hope we sign another winger as well, because we need wingers. We do need wingers. That should be an urgent thing. And I was going to say backup striker, but we got Nketiah and Willock, so maybe give them a chance, because Welbeck is going now. Assuming we do keep Aubameyang and Lacazette, then maybe we don't need to buy a striker. But yeah, we'll get to that in a second. I would sell Mustafi. Obviously, he didn't play the Europa League final, but I would still sell him. I don't think he's good enough. This might be controversial, but I would sell Koscielny. It's not that he's not good enough. I just feel like he's pretty old now. He's done pretty well this season recently, but I think we would benefit, just like Ozil, I think we would benefit if we catch in on him now and bring in another defender, in my opinion. That's what I would do anyway. That's what I would think about doing. Monreal, he's not been good the past couple of seasons. So I would consider selling him. Now, again, as I said at the start, I don't expect us to sell all these players, but I would at least consider, like, if at least 2 or 3 of these players aren't gone in the summer, then I'd be a bit surprised, to be honest. Kolasinac, we're not going to sell him, but I would sell him. I honestly think we can do better than him. El Neni, I don't know what he's doing here, to be honest. Just get rid of him. Mkhitaryan, might be a bit harsh, to be honest, but again, he doesn't. I mean, if we don't bring in wingers, then we might keep him, won't we? But if we bring in wingers, then, you know, I would get rid of him. Mkhitaryan, honestly. Lichtsteiner is not good enough. Jenkinson, this might be a bit harsh because he's an Arsenal fan. He's living the dream, but we don't need him. Like, he's not good enough to play anyway, so I would get rid of him. And here's who I would keep at the moment. Aubameyang and Lacazette, I would keep them. I know they didn't turn up in the Europa League final. I'm annoyed at them for that, but they're still top strikers. They've both scored over 30 goals this season, so I would look to keep them. I would really look to keep them. Unless we sign another top striker, I would try and keep them. Like I don't know if they want to leave. I think they want to stay anyway. I think they will stay, but unless you brought in a top striker, I would keep both. Otherwise, we'd miss out on a lot of goals, in my opinion. Maitland-Niles, not at right back though. Not at right back. Stop playing at right back. Right, play him in midfield. I would keep him, give him a chance. But if he's going to play at right back or right wing back, it's not going to work. Honestly, like don't play him there. If you're going to keep him, don't play him there. Now this might be unpopular at the moment, but I would keep Xhaka. I don't feel he's that bad. I was really pissed off at him last year. Last year I was really annoyed at him because he was awful for the most part. His first season he was good there, he was quite solid. Second season he was terrible. He did improve towards the end though. This season I don't think it's been that bad. He's had a few bad games here and there, but overall I feel he's been a key part of midfield. Honestly, I do think he's good enough to stay at our club. Regardless of who we bring in or who we sell, I would keep Xhaka in my opinion. I think he can play a good role in our midfield, so I would look to keep him. Bellerin, obviously I would keep him. Torreira, I would keep him. He's not done as well in the second half of the season as the first half, but I still feel he's a decent player that we need to keep. He won't leave anyway, so it's all good. Iwobi, last season I thought sell him, and after the Palace game I thought sell him. It's not because of the Europa League final, but I do think we should keep him. He's not a bad player. Like, he can take on players, he can be a threat. The problem is his shooting, his finishing. He needs to work on his finishing. If he can work on that finishing, he could be quite decent for us. Because he does everything else right, he just can't finish. And he could finish in the Europa League final, he scored a good volley. But we need more of that. He needs to strike the ball better. He needs to learn to strike the ball properly. Leno I'd keep, obviously. Guendouzi, he is not good enough to be playing as much as he is. Like, he's been being played too often. He's being overplayed. But I would still keep him because he has potential and I think he could be great. But he's nowhere near there yet. So I don't understand why he's playing so often. He shouldn't be. But I would still look to keep him. And obviously Holding I'd keep, obviously. He was solid for us last season until he got injured. He got an ACL injury though, and I hope he comes back stronger. I really hope he does. And I missed out a few players, I'm sure, but that's the main part. Also, youth players. I think we should focus a bit more on youth and give some opportunities. We've got Nketiah, Willock and Mavropanos who've broken into the first team, played for us a few times. Mavropanos I'm not convinced on. Not convinced on him, but Nketiah and Willock, I think they deserve a chance to try and do something next season. And maybe there's other players in the youth team that could play as well. Smith Rowe or someone else, I don't know. But I would be looking, if it's true that our budget is low and we can't bring anyone big into the club, then I would consider looking at our youth players and giving them more opportunities. Because that might be what we need at the moment. We might need fresh legs, some new faces. That might be what we actually need at the moment. But either way, we've had a bad season, and I want to forget about it completely. Champions League finals this week, so that'll be the last video I do for this season. And yeah, we'll just wait for next season, shall we? After the Nations League. Nations League, I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, I'm an England fan as well, and I hope we can win that. We need to generate some money to actually fund some transfers because we need to strengthen our defence, our midfield, we need wingers, so we need to do something. And I don't know, like next season, I'm not confident about it. We'll see how the window goes, but if the window isn't a good window, which it probably won't be, then I don't see us doing much next season. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong and we do well next season, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And Europa League another season in there will not help us either, obviously. So, yeah. I just want to forget about this, to be honest. Just switch sports. Just leave England and go somewhere else. And just forget about Arsenal. It's just really frustrating. Like they somehow they've caused us pain for the last 15 years. And somehow they still find new ways to piss us off. And it's really frustrating. There's problems all over. It's not just management. It's not just the players. It's players as well. Like, players share the blame. Manager shares the blame on the pitch. Off the pitch, whoever's on the boards, whoever's running it, Stan Kroenke, the owner, all of them, they're clearly not doing well enough for us. They're clearly not. Off the pitch, it's no better. It's like the problem starts at the top. Like, there's problems all over in every department, and it's really frustrating. It's actually not going to do my outro, to be honest. Just goodbye.